Hello everyone. Welcome to the Math Masters Academy.
In today's video, we are going to learn about exponents and scientific notation. Exponents and scientific notations are mathematical concepts often used to represent and manipulate large or small numbers. There are many different types of exponents in scientific notation, but today we are going to talk about the product rule of exponents and the quotient rule of exponents. The product rule of exponents. You guys can read the definition. I'll explain in the simple form. When you multiply numbers that have the same base and they each have exponents, you need to add those numbers. As you can see in this example, we have a raised to m multiplied by a raised to n, which means that we have a and a common, a same base, equals to a, and we're going to add the exponent, which is here m and n are the exponents. So m plus n. We need to remember this formula for the product rule of exponent. Now, let's talk about the quotient rule of exponent. You guys can read the definition. I'll explain in the simple form. If you have a raised to m, divide by a raised to n, and when a is the number and m and n are exponent, you can simplify it by subtracting the exponent. As you can see here in the product rule, we were adding it. Now, when you have a equation where you have to divide it, that's a quotient rule, which is equal to a raised to m minus n. We need to remember this both formula to solve the both terms. We need to remember the both formula. Now let's solve the example for both of the terms. Now let's solve the product rule of exponents with some example. The first example that we're going to look is m raised to 5 multiplied by m raised to 2. As you can see from the formula, we can start solving right away by having the same base, and we can add 5 plus 2, which is m raised to 7. Okay, now let's solve the second example. Now, as you can see here, it may appear that we cannot simplify a product of three factors. However, using the associated property of multiplication, we can begin by simplifying the first two. Solving the two first, we can use the product rule of exponent. So let's start solving the first two. I'm just going to put it in the parentheses so that way you guys are not confused, right? So the first thing we're going to solve is this, right? As you can see from our formula that we can add the 2 plus 5. So since we have the same base, we can add 2 plus 5, which is 2 equals 7. Now, don't forget, we still have to solve for x raised to 3. So we're going to bring that down, and now we're going to start solving this. Okay, and since here also we have a same base, right? So we're going to start adding 7 exponents, right? As you can see, if we have the same base, we can add our exponents, and here exponents are 7 and 3. So we started solving, and that answer is x raised to 10. Okay, in this scenario, we can also get a results by adding 3 exponent in step 1. If you don't want to solve from step by step, we can start solving right away. Since all 3 have the same base, it's easy for us, and we can add all 3 together, and you're gonna end up having the same answer. Okay, now let's solve further. let's solve the third expressions, which is 2y 4 into 2 into y. Okay, this is our third equation. Since we don't have any exponent on this one, we count as 1, right? Since we don't have that. And since we have the same base, we can right away start solving, just putting your base, and start adding two exponents. So the answer is going to be this. Okay, now let's solve the further. Okay, here 3 raised to 2 multiplied by 3 raised to 3. Here we have the same base, but some of you might get confused that 3 into 3 is also 9. But in this case, we are just using the product rule of exponent formula. So to simplify this equation, simply we are going to see if both terms have the same base. In this case, yes, we have the same base. So we just have to add our exponents. Okay, so we're going to put 3 as it is. We're not going to multiply, but we're going to add both the exponents. So it's going to be 3 raised to 5. And that's how you solve the equations. Now, I want you to solve the fifth equation, which is minus 3 raised to 5 multiplied minus 3 raised to nothing. Remember, if it's nothing, we count as 1. So I want you to solve for this and let me know the answer in the comments by using the product rule of exponent formula. Now, let's solve the quotient rule of exponents example. Don't forget the formula. It's a raised to m divided by a raised to n equals to a raised to m minus s. So when we divide the numbers, we have to subtract the exponent. That's the formula. Okay, now let's start solving our first equation. So here, as you can see, we have a same base. We can write the base once and subtract the exponent. So, which is 18 minus 15 is 3. This is the one way to solve the expression. Now, you can also count on the finger or in the calculator, or you can solve it by the long method, which I'm going to show you right now. I wrote it t 18 times and I wrote t at the bottom 15 times. This is a long method just to show you all the method you can use it. So let's start cutting it down so we can start doing this. Okay, and so the only 3t left, which is 3 raised to 3, and that's how we got the answer. Now let's solve the second equation, which is c square root of 2 raised to 5 z square root of 2. Okay, here we don't have, for this one, we don't have any exponents. As I said earlier, if we don't have any exponent, we can count as 1, right? So since we have the same base, we can start subtracting right away. Okay, so which is going to be 5 minus 1. So the answer is 4. Okay, now let's solve the further. as we can see, there's a two exponents. You can see there's a two exponent, but here in EF raised to 2 is the base. Okay, I'm just going to write it just so you guys can use this as a study notes. In this equation, EF2 is the base. Okay, so it doesn't matter that if even in the base, if you have an exponent, it still count the base. Just make sure that the whole thing, the whole parenthesis is a base. 2 is not the outside of the parenthesis, it's inside, so it counts as base. So as we have the same base, we can start solving, right? So let's just start solving. We can write it as 1 because we have the same base, and we can subtract both exponent, which is 5 minus 3. So don't forget this 2, it's a base. Okay, if you forget the whole problem is going to change. So 5 minus 3 is 2, and that's how you solve this equation. Now let's solve further. Okay, this is very easy, but this time I'll show you by the long method, so you guys can know all the method and you can solve any equation by any method. Okay, so I wrote A 3 times and A 2 times and just A once. Now as we did it before, we're gonna cut down the same number, which is, and now 1 2 3 4, so only thing left is 4A. Okay, so that's how you're gonna solve this one. Now I want you to solve this equation. Okay, it's 4 raised to 4 divided by 4. Let me know in the comments the answer to this question, and you're going to find the study notes for both the product rule of exponent and quotient rule of exponent in the description. Just click on it and download and use it as your study guide.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more videos.